What's good, y'all? Welcome to an episode of the GinTV podcast. And before I get into tonight's show, please hit that subscribe button, the like button, drop a comment. Get us to 700 subscribers. We are almost there. But
very
as
close,
always,
guys.
your boy EAZY.
And A1DasauceGod.
And as always, we got a very, very special guest.
This is the special of the specialists.
This is family.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
This is borderline family.
Definitely.
We got Carlos, the CEO of Generation 3K in the building today. What's up with you, bro?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for you guys for inviting me in. It's been a long time, and I'm finally here. We're ready.
So for the ones that are watching right now, and if you ever thought about starting a clothing line, a clothing business, this is the episode for you because this is exactly what this man did.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you didn't do it the traditional way because
no t-shirts.
I would say in the last couple of years, I've seen a lot of people start their own clothing lines, right? But they usually take the streetwear route, but you didn't. You went the suit and tie way. What made you even like choose suit and tie and like formal wear instead of like the typical, like streetwear?
I mean, I wanted to do something that was good for me, that was true to me. I'm a suit guy.
Okay.
Whenever people see me and I'm out, I'm dressed up, slacks, button-ups. So I wanted to kind of appeal to people that I was already familiar with. So I came from that background of working in retail here at Brass Mills Mall at Euromoto. I would design mannequins, and I've always been a person that surrounded myself with the well-dressed and the gentleman's community. So when I wanted to start the business, automatically that's what I thought about. But I would rather wear a suit than a sweatsuit.
Really?
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm kind of the opposite, yo. I like more comfortability.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And then when you put on a suit,
there's a feeling that it gives you, right? Yeah.
But I'm like an occasional suit wearer.
Right.
But so you wear like suits on the regular?
If I could wear a suit all day, every day, I would, for sure.
You need to be like somewhere in downtown Manhattan or some shit, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm still a person that likes to work with my hands. So, that's one of the things that was most appealing for me with suits is, I'm from a construction background, so I would be dirty and dusty 5 days a week, but on Saturday and Sunday, I'm super clean.
Okay.
So that was one of the appeals for me initially, is that this is something that I can transform my image with. And when I realized that so many people also desire to transform their image, it just was like a no-brainer. I just need to get into suits.
Okay.
So was this something that you were always into, or like how did you get, to the place where you just like being well dressed? Like where does your inspiration come from?
Well, growing up, I would say all my life, I grew up, my mother was a seamstress, and she was the head seamstress at Playtex.
Okay.
They made the brassieres and stuff like that.
Right.
In Barbados. And my father, he only had custom made clothing. So he would always, whenever he gets something made, he would always, whatever fabric was left over,
Right.
I would get something made out of that. So he would choose a fabric and I would get the remnants and make me a suit. So I grew up just around cloth and custom.
Well, you were making suits
stuff.
as a kid?
My mom was making stuff.
Okay.
So I grew up seeing sewing machines in the house, and my sister was a singer. So she would always pester my mom anytime she had to sing, she needed a new outfit. So my mom would make her dresses and different things like that.
Did you touch the sewing machine when you were a kid or not?
Never did.
All right.
Yeah.
That's a tough thing to do as a boy.
I didn't touch the sewing machine till my mid-30s, but I didn't realize how much I had learned from just seeing it. So when I actually sat behind a sewing machine, it was like, I've seen it done so many times that it came so natural. Mm-hmm.
So when you first started Generation 3, okay, were you like making the suits yourselves or were you like outsourcing? So just from the real beginning, right? Like what was your first suit idea? Like when did you actually get something like on you, like that you made or that you got made?
Well, Generation 3K didn't start as a suit company. It started as a tie company.
Oh.
So I was only making neckties. And this is something I did from like 2014. I would sell neckties. And it kind of fell off. Like many people do, start a dream and then
I mean, if
kind
you
of
don't,
just
you
wilted
don't
away.
blow up on the second night, right? You're like,
Right.
fuck,
So
fuck this
I
shit.
kind of was like, yeah, I was kind of like, fuck
I
it.
thought I was onto something.
Yeah. But I made a little money. I was selling ties 3 for $20. And I'll go around to different churches and stuff and sell ties. But so Generation 3 Kid didn't start as a suit company. It started as a tie company. And then I started to transition into suits. So when I made my first suit, I actually outsourced it
Okay.
because I wanted to see how it's made. I wanted to test fabrics. And I brought in from the factory, I had 10 suits made. I didn't know who I was going to sell them to. I had a couple made for myself and a couple to sell, but I had to made random sizes, but just fabrics and patterns that I liked. And that's kind of how I started from that space. Yeah.
So how did you actually get in contact with like these? Like, I'm assuming this is like overseas, right?
Yeah.
Like, what do you just like go on Google, like
I mean,
customsuit.com?
yeah, because prior to that, I was doing import. I used to sell shea butter and black soap, so I was importing from like Ghana and Burkina Faso in Africa. So I was used to importing goods from overseas. It was just taking that to like China and Spain and Pakistan, different places that had great fabrics that I liked, and learning the language and the culture so I could communicate and get the goods that I needed. So that's how I started in terms of outsourcing it and going overseas to different factories. Yeah.
So it seemed like you pretty much just kind of like, piece together a lot of like learned skills
Yeah.
throughout life to kind of place you where you are right now.
Yeah. And I didn't know that because I saw everything before that as a failure.
Right.
So I didn't know that everything that I learned was part of my process, my learning process.
Why did you consider it a failure though?
Because I didn't see it as a success. I didn't make it big. It wasn't, I sold some shea butter and stuff the ladies at the bank and,
Right.
shit like that. But I didn't see it as like, I didn't make $1 million,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I had a bar for myself that I didn't make. And when I didn't make it, I quit. I might have made $10,000 for the year on a side hustle. I was like, yeah, fuck it.
So you're kind of like that
Doesn't
dude
make
that walks
sense.
into like every barbershop, like trying to sell like
I
you know what I mean?
I
Like
did that. Yeah,
so
I
you was,
did
like,
that. I
walking
did that in
barbershop.
barbershops and in banks and stuff. And I would tell the women, listen, I can take any scar on your skin. I would get grade A shit, but I could take any scar on your skin and transform. And you use this product for 30 days, it's going to remove the scar or the blemishes or acne scars and all that. And that's how I started. But I
Yeah.
just wasn't consistent,
I mean, so how do you stay consistent then? Because so you started off as a tie company, right? And then
Mhm.
you saw that wasn't like really doing as well as you wanted. So you transitioned into suits.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but I'm sure like when you started the suit thing, right? That wasn't like an overnight process either, right? Like I'm pretty sure there was some struggles with that, or did that come a lot? Was that easier than selling ties?
It was easier because it was a bigger ticket item.
Okay.
So it didn't require.
Too
I
much
got
pieces.
more.
Yeah.
I got more.
Okay.
So one tie sold versus two suits sold is a totally different price bracket. So it was more rewarding to me. So it made more sense to put more into that, But in terms of overall, it was hard. It was hard getting started. Like I bumped my head 1,000,000 times. I dealt with different factories, a lot of language barriers. My ideas weren't always executed the right way. I had customers early on that I struggle with, producing the things in the right time or making the right amount of profit. So just learning how to navigate the finances of it, I would think was the hardest part. The fashion and what people liked and what people gravitated towards, I already understood from working in retail. But it was about, how do I price my stuff? And do I price my stuff where it's cheap and everybody can afford it? Or do I price it where it's a little in the middle
Yeah.
and I'm making more profit, where do I want to put it?
You gotta fill out who am I really selling my product
That
to.
part. So I had to understand what customer I wanted. And early on, I realized that, although I can sell to a customer and maybe give them a $300 suit,
Is that
right?
cheap?
And that's cheap.
A $300 suit.
It's just really cheap, right?
That's like 5 of my suits together,
right? So it's really cheap for $300 suit,
For a
but
custom
that
suit, yeah.
customer also would be. They wouldn't know exactly what they wanted, so there would be a lot of changes. And I just got a lot more flack from customers on the lower price bracket versus when I raise it to 600 and above. The customer comes in and says, "I want a custom suit. This is what I want," and they have a better understanding. So there was less complication in terms of how we communicated and what they wanted.
So people at the higher tax bracket didn't really complain as much as the peasants. Like,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I mean, but we've heard this before, where like people raise their prices to actually get valued. It seems like when you're spending money, you kind of already it's like you said, when you spending a lot of money, you already know what you want. Like if you're lower down on that scale, it's like, all right, I got more options.
It's always the people trying to get fucking deals that complain the most.
Yeah. And my starting price was $350 on my suits,
which is fucking crazy.
And like everyone that I started with, I still honor that price.
Right.
So my very loyal core 3-4 people that fuck with me in the beginning, I still honor that price. But like with anything else, when people, you can have a Mercedes that costs $80,000 or a car that exactly built and you take the tag off and you put $40,000 on it. People think the one with the logo on is
better.
It's a better vehicle. Yeah.
I mean, the business that you're in, I want to say this is kind of a bold statement, right? It's not even almost quality. It's just really about the name, right? Because I feel like that's what mostly clothing is, right?
It's a brand, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of quality clothing out there that's just very affordable, right? But it's not that desirable, right? Because a lot of people dress to impress. Especially with a suit, right? And especially at that, I think like the average person who doesn't really rock suits like that, they're not really looking at like suits how they probably look at like shoes or t-shirts, right? Like, oh, like that's a Gucci shirt, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like as you go up like in the higher end of people, like in the higher tax bracket, like they recognize suits, right? So I'm assuming that's what you want your suit to be. You want to be like, yo, when someone rocks your suit and they're like, oh shit, like I know he paid this much because that's a Gen 3 suit.
Kind of like red bottoms, like you see the bottom of red bottoms, you're like, okay, I know this is a person with money, or this person has
kinda, but there's a feel that you have when you wear my suits.
Okay.
Because I've been wearing suits all my life, I know what fabric feels like. I know how it's supposed to flow. I know what fabric feels like. I know how it's supposed to flow on your body. So there's that knowledge that I'm bringing to the game, that when I deliver a suit to a person, they feel it on their body versus just a price tag. But that wealth of knowledge that I'm putting into that suit. So when I take your measurements, it's going to fit you a certain way. You're going to be able to be comfortable sitting down or putting your leg up or, whatever it is. So for me, that's where my value is in the fact that I'm not just a person selling suits, but I've lived this suit life all my life. And I actually only make something that I would wear.
That's a good point you said about comfortability, because I would say with the suits I've bought, which has not even been $300, I'm talking like I buy a whole 3-piece for $100. But that's my main issue with wearing suits is the comfortability factor, because most of the time when you rock a suit, you're stiff, or at least I am. You feel me? Like my arms, if I move this shit, like it's almost robotic. I can't really lift my arms. It's just like kind of tugging on my shit. Yo, so maybe that's what I gotta do, to get more into suits, is actually start spending the money and get something that's like custom made.
And when it's tailored for you, and I'm 5'8", so I'm average height, but on the shorter end. So for me, I would always have to buy something and then take it to a tailor and get it tailored, and that was always a struggle for me.
Can we get into the differences? Like some people that aren't into fashion that aren't into like custom suits, like what is the overall difference between buying an off the rack suit versus getting a custom made suit? Like where's the value in that?
Price.
Not so much. I mean, every car drives down the street.
Yeah.
But you're going to get in a Honda or you get in a Maserati, there's a totally different feel. Down to the leather, how it feels, the options that you have, all of that is what the world you enter into when you're getting a custom suit made. I got over 6,000 fabrics. When you go in the store, you might have 5 or 10 different colors you can choose from, and one basic style or 2 basic styles. I can style it anywhere you want. You can get bell bottoms. You can do whatever. You can go as crazy or as timid as you want with my suit. So the custom world just opens it up for you as it would be when you're getting a higher end luxury car. You get the stitching or no stitching on the seats. You get the heated and cool seats.
Right.
So everything is tailored to your desires.
It's like McDonald's. You get it your way.
Yeah.
Completely.
Yeah.
I mean, which is like, if I guess I'm spending top dollar, I would expect like the suit to fit me. Like I want to sleep in this shit and not be like wrinkled the next morning.
Yes.
So walk me through the process of me getting a suit from you. Like, say I want a suit that's green with yellow polka dots here and then red polka dots at the bottom. Like, do you draw this out? Like, do we meet in person?
We can if you require that much detail.
Okay.
I can draft something out for you. That's not a problem. But generally, it will begin with me getting an idea or consultation on. So I can get an idea on exactly what you want.
Okay.
Then we'll go through some fabric selections. I take your measurements either virtually. If I can't make it there, you'll have someone come in with the measuring tape and I'll show them the measurements I want. I'll come to you and I'll measure you, which is how I always prefer to do it. And then I'll put your suit into production,
And then what happens from there? Like, you contact your like source that's like.
Yeah, so I'll contact. I have around 15 tailors that work for me.
Okay.
And we can pump out anywhere from 600 to 2,000 suits a month. Yeah. A lot of my cuts are done by laser now.
Okay.
Versus hand cutting. But we can also do hand cut.
Is there a difference between laser and
I mean, it's just
cut?
faster. You know what I mean? Technology.
No, but like as a customer, is there something like that I would notice? Like
no, it's no different.
Okay.
It's just in how the fabric is cut.
Okay.
Versus somebody cutting it with a scissors. You put it on the table and the laser cuts out all the measurements.
Okay.
So yeah. So I'll send it off to any of my tailors and they'll get everything made. The fabrics are already there, so I don't have to have the fabrics. Everything is there at the factory, and they get it made.
Okay. And then how long does it typically take to get to me? Like if I order it today
in the slow season, 3 to 4 weeks. In the busy season, like prom time now, it'll be 5 to 6 weeks.
Oh, so that takes some time.
Yeah, so it takes time.
This ain't like an Amazon Prime shit.
No. It takes time. Because, it's a whole lot of things going into it, buttons and buttonholes and, there's a lot of things that come together so it fits right. And then they spend hours just clipping loose threads off the, stuff. So when you get it, it's spot on.
So what exactly is customizable? Like what can I customize on a suit?
Everything. You can customize the buttons, how many buttonholes you want, what kind of stitching, what kind of threads you want to show. You can customize the length of the sleeve vents. You can customize the lapel styles, the width. You can customize the lining on the inside, the pockets on the outside. You can customize everything on the jacket.
So what if like I'm, having a wedding or something? Are you able to like put my name in there, put a specific picture, put a specific message in there?
If you have a picture that you want, I could put your picture in the lining. So when you open up
crazy.
your jacket, you can have you and your girlfriend or your wife's picture in on the lining of the jacket.
Really?
I've done that for weddings before, where I put together, they've put together a collage of pictures for the lining of the
blazer,
the groom's jacket.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a little tacky to me, but I mean, to each his own.
Yeah. I mean, it's like just like wearing a wife and husband T-shirt, or
no, I hate that.
It's the
shit.
same kind of. I get it, but yeah, it's the same
I
thing.
see that in public. That's a fucking broken man.
They were the same.
Yeah. There's
same
an appeal
Team Jordans
to it.
and
there's an appeal to that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Some people really feel that is significant, and they want to share the memory in that way. And plus, most of the time, a person that gets a suit for a wedding only wears that suit one time. So when they hang it up in the closet, it's like that's a memory. And
like
you know why don't
it's hanging up your retirement day, yo.
Yeah.
What's crazy the fact is that like when it comes in terms of like weddings, the bride's dress gets passed on through generations, but the groom's
you
suit.
Think they still do that?
No, there's not much. So.
You don't think so? They don't do that anymore.
Not
like
much.
No.
Maybe it's a fairy tale thing. Growing up, I always see like
No, I think that was a thing before.
Really?
Like, I don't think like they passed down. Yo, I think each bride nowadays is so just self-centered, and it has to be for real. Like you ever watch like these wedding shows?
Bridezillas?
Like they're like the whole world revolves. Yo, it's funny when you watch a wedding nowadays. It's almost like the husband is like irrelevant to the situation. Like he's just a guy there.
He's just a funding the bank for this.
But one of the things I've been doing with my business is helping wives to understand that the wedding day is as much about the man as it is about the woman. So the man needs to be dressed well. So a woman would go out. I do wedding dresses as well. So a woman would go out and spend $3,000 to $5,000 on average for a wedding dress, and the man will go out and spend $250 on a suit.
Not even.
Now he looks like shit. His shit is not tailored. You know, it's not fitted right. All the groomsmen look like, you know, they bought this shit at Woolworth or Dollar Tree. But she's her and all her bridesmaids are spot on. Their jewelry, their accessories, everything is on point. So I've been helping couples, especially with marriages, understand that the men need to look just as good.
Yo, that's a good service. Yo, I've always noticed that like when you see a wedding, right? Like the woman's dress is like
flawless,
elegant. Yo, the guys usually got a black suit.
Yeah,
black and white tuxedo
that don't fit. It's kind of loose. Yeah.
Yo, do you think it's almost purposeful? Like, do you think if like, cause yo, your suits are bold. I've seen them. Like they're not regular suits, right? Yo, do you think if a bride would even allow a man to wear a suit like that to the wedding? Because you're stealing attention from the bride. Yo, you rock one of your suits at a fucking wedding, like people are gonna be looking at the groomsmen more than the bride. I don't think that's gonna fly.
Well, I mean, I just did a wedding in Barbados. Shout out to Desiree and Dwayne. But I just did a wedding in Barbados. I did the bride's dress. And she had the mermaid look on her. Her thing was off the chain, clean and elegant. And he also had something that was loud and bold. And he had a Tiffany blue suit. And both people drew attention respectively. Okay. You know, so it wasn't a competition. Yeah, it wasn't a competition.
But you did both.
But yeah, I did both. Yeah. So but me personally, my personal style, I'm a bolder person style wise. So that my average client isn't going to wear what I wear, and isn't going to be comfortable or confident enough to wear what I wear.
You gotta have balls to wear.
That's just me, right? But I cater for everybody because I'm not selling suits to myself, right? So that's understandable. I don't expect everybody to show up in a wedding how I'm going to show up for my wedding. You know what I mean? That kind of way.
Yo, how did you, like, what makes you wear those kind of suits? Because, I mean, they're loud. Like, once you...
Right.
Like,
I grew up in a Calypso pink house.
Okay.
Right? I mean, how many people...
Like most other countries, that's kind of typical.
Right.
It's like colorful house.
So I've always embraced color. Barbados is a place of color, you know what I mean? So for me, you know, and I told you my father wasn't afraid of color either.
Okay.
So I grew up around men that were just men and didn't give a fuck about today's kind of standard, you know, like gray, blue, black, brown, kind of the average stuff that a man will wear. So I grew up around color and just fabrics, and so it's just something that speaks to me, and I don't really do it for anyone else. I do it whatever I see a fabric and I like it. That's what I'm gonna make a suit out of.
Just like that.
Just like that. I don't care if it's maybe seen as a gender bend or whatever. If I like the fabric, I like it.
I mean, luckily for today, there's only such thing as gender anymore, so you can wear whatever fucking color you
right,
want.
right.
Like,
yeah,
that's out the window.
For me, there always is gender, but so I would always see things as a gender bend. But if I like the fabric, I like it, and I like art, and I like angles and shapes and dimensions, and so whatever speaks to me is what I go with.
You know who I think was a big pioneer in men wearing like gender different colors is fucking Dipset.
Dipset,
oh,
yeah,
Cameron?
Dipset had everybody in pink in New York, yeah, in the 90s, yeah, for sure.
If you even wore anything close to, if you wore a red that was a little bit too bright,
yeah,
that was an issue.
What Jay-Z said, it's not pink, it's mauve.
It's mauve, yeah.
But like I remember in 7th grade, Cameron had the pink Range Rover, like they had all that shit, and I remember like, dudes is like legitimately rocking pink, like, no issue.
But I'll be honest with you, the whole neutral colors and earth tone colors is more of a European thing than Black or African culture, because all African fabrics are colorful.
Okay.
With lots of patterns. You've never seen a African fabric that's just plain.
Yeah.
You understand? So we're really cut from that cloth.
Right.
But as we want to be more European, and we are in a culture that's heavily influenced by European design and style, we tend to go with the solids and that kind of stuff. But our fabrics from our native lands is
colorful.
I mean, so have you ever seen a pattern or a style that's just like too wild for you? Where like, I am bugging out with this one, or like, this is like completely out of my comfort zone.
I guess have you ever had any fails, right? When you made a suit, like in the process of making the suit, you're like, all right, this is gonna kill it. And then you like had it on, you're like, oh, this isn't it.
No, I've never had that. Okay. It's like going to an art store and buying a piece of art and getting home, putting it on your wall and being unhappy with it. It's whatever you fell in love with at the moment before I even make the suit. Whatever about that fabric that I fall in love with is what I hold whenever I'm wearing the suit. I don't feel or consider anything a fail. I'm like, I made this because of how I connected and how I felt when I saw that piece.
How many suits do you currently own for yourself?
About maybe 40.
40.
Yeah, I've sold some of the stuff that I've made before. So maybe 40 suits.
Each one is above 300, right?
Yeah,
Damn,
sure.
You got a couple of thousands in your closet, yo.
Yeah. And I give away stuff like if I got people in my family, I got people in my family and stuff. I'll give the stuff away, because one of the hardest things for me, because I'm so out there and I travel a lot and I wear my suits a lot. Generally, if I wear a suit and I do a photo shoot in it, I won't wear it again.
Oh, okay.
So that's the hardest thing.
Who the fuck remind me? It was an Usher. I remember. I think I was watching.
No, wear t-shirts.
He only wears white tees once.
Right.
That's it.
So it's kind of
once you take a picture with the suit, that's done.
Yeah, like you'll never see me in a flash mob suit again.
Okay.
Anything I go out and I do a photo shoot with, I won't wear it twice.
Damn.
It's because
I'll rock it again. I just won't take
pictures.
Yeah.
That's just and because I'm in a place where I don't have to go and buy stuff. I can make what I want.
That's different.
I don't need to wear the same.
All right, so this question, a little invasive.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously you're selling your suits for a certain price, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's the actual cost to get one suit made?
I would say here's the rule of thumb for any business. You don't ever want to make less than 30% profits. Right? Yeah. I always go for at least 70% profit.
Okay.
Right. So whatever my suits will sell, you can do the math from there.
I'm bad at math, man. You got
yeah. But the cost is because you got to make something. You got to compensate yourself for your time and everything else that goes into it. But I won't generally take any less than 70% profits. So in the beginning, I was maybe doing 25-30% profits.
Okay.
On those. I wasn't making a lot, but I need to get my feet wet.
Yeah.
But now, as I understand the clientele and fabrics and stuff like that, yeah, I want to make the ultimate day is when I make 100% profit.
Yeah, but damn, so you're making
200% profit.
70%
That's
profit.
a large fucking margin.
Yeah,
I gotta get my
absolutely.
calculator out to do.
The margins, the margins have to make. It has to
Yeah.
make sense,
Right.
If it doesn't make sense, then
there's no purpose in it,
right?
Yeah.
So are you doing this full time, or do you?
Well, I was doing it full time before. I stopped construction at the beginning of 2021. That's something I started this in 2020, and I juggled both. I would do construction 7 to 3:30, come home, eat, shower, take a nap, get up, work on my business at night. And I did that for about a year. But it started to take away from my creativity because construction is such a physical job.
Labor.
So yeah, my mind was just fried.
Yeah.
By the time I get home, I already 3/4, 7/8, 5/16 all day long. By the time I get home, my brain is fried.
Yo, it's so hard to have a full work day and then come home and work on yourself, man. That's why so many people don't get like anywhere in life, like outside of their like current job, because it just takes so much energy and dedication to like, all right, so I just work 8 hours, right?
Now it's time to pour into me.
Even as simple as working out, bro.
Bro, as simple as investing into a relationship. Like, look how many relationships fail because of the person is just so exhausted after work. Like, coming from a person that like work on long shifts, like when I come home, I don't want to deal with like being in a relationship.
So
like,
I did that. I did that for the first year, and then in 2021, the beginning, I quit my job, and I went into selling suits full time. Kind of, and not really. I'm never scared to leave anything. No, I'm never. That's the kind of person I am. If I feel like the season for this is over, I'm gone. Or I feel like I'm not being fulfilled or it's taken away from what I need to have now, I'm gone. So I was not scared about doing the suit thing full time. I just knew it would work. And then when I got it to a point where I needed it to be, I got out of the physical part of construction and just went into, subcontracting, where I ran my own work and I didn't have to do anything. I can actually run my business in the day and still make money from construction as well. So I do both right now. But I quit in the beginning of 2021. I went maybe until September of 2021. I was full-time suits. And now I do both construction and
was the
suits.
suit full-time not profitable enough for you?
100% profitable.
No,
but
I said not profitable enough.
It's not the enough part, but I realized that, I'm 41 years old and I have two gifts that are able to bring two incomes. So why take one? If I can manage both and one doesn't steal from the other, it's beneficial. It's healthy to have both.
But I'm assuming if one outweighs the other greatly, you're gonna pick that one, right? Like do you not? I mean,
eventually, yes.
Okay.
Eventually, ultimately, like I said earlier, I would like to do this and be in suits all day, every day. That's my eventual goal. But I have to be realistic of where I am. And my business last year, I did $54,000, right?
Okay.
With suits, right? With suits, right? I got to supplement that somehow. And that's where construction came back.
Is that 54,000 in profit, or is that like all together? Because I mean, I'm assuming like there's a overhead, right, that costs you.
I don't have an overhead because I don't own a storefront. I don't pay. My costs are from my home office, and that's really my overhead and travel expenses.
Okay.
So that's how much I did for 2021. Now where I'm free and I have extra resources that I can pump things out and scale it. So I expect to do way better and double that for this year on the suit side, and I still have, the construction thing.
Did you reap any rewards from actually quitting your job? I know you were able to, become more creative, but did you, when you invested more time into it, did you actually see, you know, a change drastically throughout like your journey with
Are you
selling
asking
suits?
like as far as happiness or something like that?
Not only happiness, but you know, like we discussed it in the past, where like the more you pour into something, is the more you're gonna get out of it. So with him pouring into suits like 100% into it,
down.
you're right. It's like I feel like kind of like the universe has to give you a reward, or God has to, you know, give you the repayment of like, you know, blessing you throughout that journey.
I think the joy came from having the freedom to travel more.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, bro, I be seeing you everywhere.
Yeah. So
literally,
you know, so I was able now to say, okay, I'm not just limited on Monday to Friday to Connecticut. I can, you know, I can leave in the morning and be in Chicago. I can be, you know, right. I could be.
You called me on Friday.
Right.
We going to Chicago tomorrow morning.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I got no choice.
I could be in California. You know, I can do anything I need to do. So that freedom brought a different level of appreciation for just where I am in life and the space that I'm at. You know what I mean? So yeah, it definitely did something to me in terms of my belief in. Because there were certain doubts in quitting the job. I wasn't scared, but there were doubts. You know,
I mean, that's
because
a big.
You're leaving a
jump,
stable.
bro, yeah.
You know what I mean? I was doing 6 figures on that job,
right?
And I left that to jump in.
That's not promised,
right? But I believed in it so much. I was like, yeah. At the end of the day, I still have my skill set, so I can always get another job.
See, I think it's easier for someone that has actual skills to quit a job, because those skills aren't going away, right? But like, if you have a job where like you're completely dependent on someone else, and for you to start that job back up, like you have to go back to that person or someone similar to it. It's a little more difficult. You know what I mean? 'Cause, like, you always got your own physical hands that like are your like bread and butter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and my brain for sure. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like you made a good point there. I feel like, you know, being able to have a craft of your own that you could really like fall back on, like a parachute, you know, or whatever you want to call them things, like a safety net. You know, you're able to fall back on that, but most people don't have that.
I didn't. But when I made the decision, I didn't make it as if I made it with the mindset of I'm never going back to construction. And that's how I moved.
How did you feel going back to construction, though?
I felt like I had 2 gifts and I needed to use both of them. There was a little bit of hesitancy to go back to construction.
It's almost like you're kind of like breaking your word to yourself. Would you say that?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. It felt that way.
Well, did you really break your word because you didn't go back to physical labor and construction?
Right. I didn't go back to the same type of construction. I went back to on the business side of construction versus working in the union and that kind of way.
Doing manual labor, you know?
So, right. So I didn't wear a tool belt after I've been back. So I can literally go to work in suits, but it's not the environment for it, you know? Yeah.
So, I mean, so you came back in a better place.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, I mean, so it's still different. I mean, that's what I'm thinking. It's like, damn, if I told myself like, yo, I'm never doing it. A year later, I got to go back to it. It's like, all right, I kind of failed.
Right.
Yeah. So I didn't see it as fail. I just saw it as me understanding that I didn't need to necessarily. I could do both.
Okay.
But I need to figure out how both can coexist in the same space.
Okay.
So when I realized that the only way construction can coexist is if I actually take myself out the field and I put people in the field to work for me. That made sense.
You became a boss in both levels.
Yes.
In both planes, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, even to have the courage to step away from a job and say, you know what, I'm quitting this. I'm dedicating myself to this. That's a big jump.
And we had those conversations, and I would be like, bro, I'm working. I was building elementary school in Westchester, New York, and for most people, it'd be like big money. You know, my package was $80 an hour. I was taking home $37 an hour. You know, and I had overtime available and benefits and full dental and full medical and all that. And I walked away from it to pursue this because it just felt like this needed my attention.
Taking home $37 an hour, crazy.
Yeah,
crazy.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just needed my attention that way. You know.
Yo, sometimes like it's like calling to your soul. You know
Yes, yes.
Yo, when something like that happens, you almost kind of like throw out logic a little bit, because like logically, you're taking like a risk, right? Like if you were to lay everything down in front of you, you'd be like, all right, I'm leaving like the most stable condition I've probably ever been in my life for this, which is like deep
completely
down inside, I feel like
new.
it's gonna work. But you always have like like I don't know, when I make these type of decisions, I always have like that little voice in my head like, dude, you wild.
Like, is this the right decision?
I've worked construction before where I've made $54 an hour and different things like that. So I think because I've in those situations also, not whenever I'm not happy in the environment, I leave. Right? I don't give a fuck about if it's so taxing to my soul, I'm out. Because I've seen too many people spend years and shit that are unhappy, and I'd rather be happy making minimum wage than unhappy making $54 an hour. I'll never make minimum wage. I'll figure out something else out, drive Uber or something so I can make more. But whenever I'm in an environment that I'm not fulfilled or I'm not happy, I'm bringing home the stress. I'm just, people talking to me greasy, and I feel like I want to take, a charge and go to jail. Like
that's literally me every day at work. Like
I just leave.
Yo, what? So
I just leave.
Yo, that was very prolific what you just said, man. Honestly, but like, how do you get like that? Because like, all right, so you're hearing him talk about like, yo, he doesn't tolerate, feeling like shit at work or just in any situation. It seems like, right? Yo, why do you?
Mm-hmm.
Because I think in terms of like, as we had this conversation before, where like, I didn't have the skills. I don't have like the the college degree that you may have, or I don't have like the skills that he may have. Like I kind of lucked up and got a decent paying job for where I am right now. Like yes, I have the experience, but it's not hand skills. Like it's not something it's not a craft that I've been pouring into for years.
So how long are you gonna wait? How long are you gonna hate your life?
Until I can move on and until I can make a decision to branch off and do something else, And I think that's where most people are, We tend to lie to ourselves and tell ourselves like, oh yeah, I love my job, or we aspire to be to a place. So I aspired when I wasn't here, I wanted to be here, but now that I'm here, it's like I'm fucking drained, And it's like we keep doing it because it's kind of what we have to do. We tell ourselves this is what we have to do, Like, do I have to do it? No, I could quit my job tomorrow and fucking become a bum and like not have to worry about the stress.
Or you can quit your job tomorrow and become brilliant.
That sounded really
good.
You know what I mean? I don't think
no, it's possible.
Outcome,
but that's what I was about to say. Like, what are the chances?
But we don't see it. We don't see it that way until you leave it. You don't see that. Like I told you, when he was at my house when I had 700 ties ready to start Generation 3 kit, because that's as far as my vision would allow me, right? And 3 months later, I was selling suits. Now I give away ties with every suit. It's a big difference, but that's how far my vision was, and I was happy to just sell ties, right?
So do you think your vision can limit you then? Because you just said that's as far as your vision lets you see. Is that maybe his problem? Like, yo, do you have a vision?
I don't think your vision can limit you, and it's that's almost like a trick question. Sometimes your vision needs to be limited because if you see how grand the promise is, you'll be too intimidating.
Oh, okay, I can see that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, repeat that one more time for those that didn't get it.
If your vision has to be limited because if you see how grand the promise is, you would be intimidated by what's ahead.
Motivated. Because if you see what's out there, because I feel like sometimes when you have a vision, right, you have like a thought of what it's gonna be like when you get there, right? But what if like when you get there, like this is what life is gonna be like? That might really motivate you. You know what I mean? Because it's like it could be anything, right? It's like when we started this podcast, right? Like we have a thought of what like being like a real successful podcast is gonna be like. So we move in a way we're trying to achieve that thought, right?
Yeah.
Yo, but what if we knew, like, once you become a successful podcast, like, this is the lifestyle that you get, right? And if you know, like, that's what you're gonna get, like, do you think we'd go harder?
Absolutely. I think if we knew for a fact that this is gonna be the gift at the end of it, like, hey, if you succeed, this is where you're gonna
Or
be
would
at.
you be intimidated by
I think you'll definitely go harder about it. But the thing is that we don't know. You know, you don't know. We could give it 110% and be something else. You know, be one of these other podcasts that just aren't making it.
And I think the intimidation factor would come for me in a situation like saying I'm gonna start selling suits, and my vision being smaller to sell ties at that time is because I didn't feel like I had what it took to organize the network and the infrastructure to run a suit company. Right? For the first year, which was 2020, I was doing everything cash. Right? So when everyone was giving out the PPP loans and stuff, if I had organized my LLC in the beginning, I would have been able to at least get $20,000 of that free money that we were giving away.
Free money. It seems like a lot of people ended up in jail from that.
I wouldn't have went crazy like some people went, but I would have at least got the SBA loan or something like that.
So capitalize on that a little bit.
I wasn't organized then. I was doing everything cash.
Yeah,
and that I learned from that situation, like, because that's the only thing I needed. They were like, "You don't have the business set up." I was like, I don't have a business. I don't have an LLC. I don't have a business account. I think I did my business account late in 2020. Like, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, I didn't have things set up. I wasn't all the way right. I was just figuring it out.
Yeah.
And the moment I figured everything out and I got an LLC and I learned how to get business credit and I started to leverage credit and different things like that, it just ran. But, you know, I didn't know.
What was your biggest hiccup that came along the way that made you feel like, you know, this might be it for me?
I've never had a "this might be it for me" moment because, you know, I love what I do. I never had that moment, but I think the biggest thing that I needed the most was to learn how to celebrate every win.
Okay. So you never had a real major setback?
I mean, all the time in terms of little setbacks, people not or changing their ideas. I think if we talk about major, it would be I did a wedding for a gay couple, and it was a lesbian couple, and
do they both wear suits?
One wore suit, one wore suit, one wore dress. And 3 weeks before the wedding, her suit was being delivered the week after. 3 weeks before the wedding, she called me and she said, "My grandmother just died. I lost a shit ton of weight. I'm stressing." And I'm like, fuck.
Oh, the suit was too big.
It was going to be too big. Like, too big. Like, double big.
In a matter of 3 weeks.
And the wedding was 3 weeks out.
Oh, okay.
Fuck that.
I had measured her about 2 months before.
I would have got her like some fucking
right?
Big Macs and shoved it.
And now I'm like,
get that weight back.
This is me on the line. She was like, "What can you do?" I said, "Let me contact." She was in Atlanta. I said, "Let me contact some of my tailors out there and see if they can do some alterations."
And where's this suit coming from? Like overseas, right?
The suit is coming.
Oh, so there's like no change in
that. I actually already had the suit and sent the suit to her.
Oh.
So it was on its way to her, like a couple of days out from her at that point. But it was like a week before she had told me. And I contacted some people in Atlanta. And she calls me and she says, "Can I get back at some amount of dollars, $200 or whatever it was?"
Why?
Because she needed to pay for the alterations.
How was that on you though? Why should that come out of your cost? Just general questions.
It really shouldn't. But I learned early on, and that's from working in retail. Not so much from Waterbury's retail, but from other people I've worked with that have just maintained successful businesses, that sometimes the customer is always right, and it's not worth getting a bad Google review over a couple dollars, because one bad Google review can turn away 100 customers.
That's a fact.
You understand?
Yo, because honestly, when I'm looking at something and I read the reviews, if I see one review, it makes me question the whole purchase.
Right.
So that's a good point, yo.
So I'm not worried about giving something back if somebody and I generally want the person to have the best experience at the wedding. It was no fault of her grandmother died. Really no fault of mine that you lost all the weight. But how can I help you still? I'm still here to serve because I'm in a service-based business, right? So I had to take my head out my own ass, right? And know that's paramount to everything, because my name is on the line. If she puts a suit on, big or whatever, my name is on the line, right? And she's gonna drop some pictures. She could either say, Generation 3 kid came through for me, like he went above and beyond for me, or she could say, this dickhead, this asshole didn't understand my situation, and that's a customer that could come back or send someone else my way.
Yo, especially in today's world, where like depending on somebody's like social media influence, it can make a big difference for your business.
Absolutely,
you know what I mean? Yo, because if she's like a big influence on social media and she like has a bad review about your suit, and she just could put like a little tweet, little post, right?
Yeah.
That could deter like a lot of customers away, right?
Could break you,
but
you
it
know?
could do the opposite, right? She goes and like, yo, this is the best suit I ever wore. The guy was on point. He helped me out when I was at my lowest. And then there's 100 customers.
And prior to that, all our interactions were never a problem. She paid her money up front. You know, it was not a problem. So I learned that sometimes, and because I give so much stuff away it's just like sometimes you have to understand that every customer isn't trying to get over on you. Now I've had customers that try to beat me in the head, but not every customer is trying to get over on you.
Some people
and things just happen. Life happens.
Some
you know what I mean?
Genuine, yo.
Yeah, and if life happens and you're my customer, I got you.
But me as a customer, I don't know. Like maybe
you're a good business.
But also one of the things I also learned from that experience is that I always have to ask customers, especially women, do you plan on losing weight before your wedding? Or how much weight do you plan on losing? Right? So if I measure you 4 months before your wedding, I need to know what is your possible weight loss, so I can trim it to that possible weight loss and leave enough fabric that if you don't lose that much, we can still make something work.
That was a good lesson learned.
But I need to know what is your possible weight loss.
Did you know how much she lost?
About 25 pounds.
Damn, that's a lot.
It is. For me, 25 ain't much.
There was a grandmother's funeral. It was a grandmother's passing and something else that happened within that same time. It was like two things that happened in like a month period leading into the wedding.
Yeah.
You know,
it'd be funny if you put the fucking weight back on. Like, damn, all this shit.
Yeah, and I know that was a challenge.
So what was the outcome? Were you able to get it tailored down?
We executed flawlessly.
Bro, just
maybe coordinating with the tailor there in Atlanta, and we maybe a day or two before the wedding, everything was right and ready, and she was happy, you know.
And
while in Connecticut,
at the end of the day, I put myself in people's shoes too, and if something happened like that, I would want to know that I'm not fucked a couple days before my wedding.
Yeah.
Because then what do? You try to go to Macy's or something? Like, what do you do in that situation? You plan for this custom
go
suit,
to Walmart, grab
and then something happens. Like, what do you do?
It's
not going to fit. You know what I mean? It's just not going to be the same. She came to me because she wanted something that is tailored to and that incorporates her vision for the wedding. So
I got a question, because I actually went to you with I went with you to an event in Chicago, right?
Yeah.
How did you get in touch with Black Menswear, the Flash Mob?
Yeah, shout out to Dre and Black Menswear, Evan,
big shout out to them.
The whole team.
Yo,
The whole
just
team
for everyone
out
watching
there.
right now, if you've never experienced one of those events, man, like if you may not be a suit wearer like I am,
Yeah.
but if you got one in the back of your closet,
Yeah.
get that bad boy out and hit one
Black Men's Wear on Instagram. Check them out.
Fire.
But I connected with him. This was in March of 2020. The pandemic was now creeping in. It wasn't a full lockdown and mask and all that in North Carolina.
When COVID was chill.
Yeah. And me and Jaheim, we drove down to North Carolina because I heard about this movement with a bunch of brothers getting flying suits. So I was like, let me pull up because I want smoke. You know what I mean? I'm pulling up for the competition. I'm competitively dressing.
Yeah.
And we pulled up there, and Jaheim wasn't dressed at that event. But I pulled up and, I got fly. I pull up, and did my thing and network. And I was like, I like this energy. Like,
It's
so
dope.
many people
It's
I
so
met.
dope, yo.
It was just a whole weekend of just networking and going to different events and talking with all kinds of brothers that, single fathers and lawyers and doctors and, entrepreneurs and, school bus drivers and whatever. Just black men coming together and having conversations, and relating about the same thing, which is we like to be well dressed. And I told the founder and Andre that I'll try to make it to every flash mob there is.
I mean, it seems like you're at
across
least
the
at most
country.
of them.
Yeah, and I've been to 11 at this point.
11.
11.
Because they have one
different
every
places.
month, right?
They have for the last 2 years, 3 years they were doing one every month. But this year they're doing one every other month.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've been to a couple of them. Generally, if they repeat a state, I won't do it a second time. I kind of like to do it and meet a whole new set of people.
Has, networking with the Black Men's Wear network, has that like benefited your actual business?
Absolutely. It kind of gives me a gauge also of
what the market is like.
Yeah, what the market is like in that state. I've not been to an event that I haven't built new friendships or gained new customers.
Okay.
So Addis Lease is going to pay for my trip. Yeah, Addis Lease.
Yo, have you gotten any kind of pushback when you go to these events? Because respectfully, you be shitting on them. I told you, because for the people that have never seen this man's suits, like they're not like any suits you've seen.
Right.
They're out there. Like when you rock a suit, you're getting noticed.
Right,
so
right.
when you go to these events, like, are people kind of giving
They
you like the
hating on
side
you a
eye, or is
little
it
bit?
always love?
It's always love because when you're amongst winners, there's no hate.
Ooh.
So it's always love,
Like that.
Everybody's winning. It's like if we all have high-end vehicles or we all doing a certain thing, it's no hate. It's like I'm happy for you, I'm happy for you, I'm happy for you, or whatever it is. So when you're just amongst people that are well dressed, if anything, it's inspiring for other people.
Ooh. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, so now we're talking about networking. Like, has there any? I know you made some major, networking leaps last year. And maybe even 2020. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you made some specifically last year. You made some big leaps. You mind, jumping into that a bit?
2020 it started. I did. I did Miss India Worldwide.
Miss India?
Yeah, Miss India. That's Monica Gill.
Okay.
Shout out to Monica Gill, Max Evans, Julia, the whole team. I did her, Stokely Williams.
Okay.
From Mint Condition. I did his video shoot and style, his suit for that. And leading into what the big events that happened in 2021,
yeah,
I started the process of celebrating. every week.
Really?
Something that happened in my life, and it was real hard for me for like the first month or two to celebrate. I don't mean like go out and celebrate, but verbally celebrate.
Like actually enjoy the
moment.
Like say this week I want to celebrate this that I did. It was hard because I was so used to always what's next, always searching for,
not living in the moment.
Where I couldn't live in the moment or acknowledge any moment.
Okay.
Because as soon as I do, I'm on to the next.
Right.
Or what's next is I'm always chasing a high.
Yeah.
Right?
That's actually, bro, that's so true, yo, because I think myself, I suffer with that, yo, because sometimes I think what I've done with my life hasn't been that accomplishing, but in reality, when I compare it to like, not people, like in really that way, but like when I compare it to like where I came from, it's fucking nuts.
Big.
Like, yo, bro, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't really talk about like my humble beginnings,
right.
But like, you know, I just went back to Brazil not too long ago, where I'm like, originally from, and it's fucking nuts to me, like to see
crazy.
Yo, not like
where you could have been.
Yo, and it's not like not even shit on like my family that still live there, but it's like it's fucking humbling. Like, yo, when you go back to your roots and you compare it to like where you are now and what you're doing, it's insane.
That's why it's needed. That's why celebration is needed, because it puts you in a place of gratitude.
Right.
So like you said, you had the same struggle. I struggle with that, and you know, I had a friend that we would hold each other accountable, and every Sunday we would celebrate. You know, we'd say, "What do you want to celebrate this week?" And I would struggle in the beginning to find shit to celebrate, because I was looking for some grand thing, but there was so many little things right in my face that I could celebrate that I didn't know how to celebrate. And when I learned how to celebrate things, it led me into a whole. It kind of I don't want to sound cliche, but the universe opened up in a different way for me.
I kind of want. Honestly, I might bite that from you. At least like do weekly celebrations.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. It's powerful, man, because it really speaks to your self-worth. It speaks to your value as a human being, and it allows you to not go year to year feeling as if you're still haven't arrived.
Complacent, you know?
So now I'm like, I'm arriving every day, right? I'm not dwelling on the coulda had beens before. I'm not in the anxiety space of tomorrow. I'm really arriving today. So I'm on the podcast right now with GinTV, you know what I mean? And it's been a long journey to get here, you know, but it's all, and we could have done this before, but it's the right time now.
It's kind of like the law of attraction, you know?
Yes, a celebration thing. So going into 2021, back on your question, going into 2021, I had that mindset, and it opened things up to me. You know, I'd already done some work with Mali, you know, and this was somebody that
Mali who?
Mali Music.
Okay.
So he was somebody that was an inspiration to me for years. You know what I mean? Over 10 years I know every song he's written and wrote, like almost every 99%. And I went into 2021 knowing that I'm gonna celebrate. I have arrived. I'm appreciative for everything I'm doing. I'm in my own business. I have a suit brand. I'm making my own shoes. I'm scaling the business. I have clients from all over the world. There's a lot to be happy about.
Yeah.
Right? And kind of 2020 was a little blurry.
Yeah.
But 2021, right? 2021, I got that camera focus, man. And I was like, I'm pinning every great moment. And one of the things that for me, I realized that in my past, I would dwell longer on negative moments in my life than I did on positive moments. So I could be in a depressive state for 3 months and in a happy state for 3 hours.
Ooh.
Yeah. Right? So
I think we've all
right. So I started pinning my happy moments the same way I would pin my bad moments. Right? And I really stretched them bad boys up. You know what I mean? Like every day,
you milk the fuck out of them
months. Every day for 3 months, hype off the same event.
Yeah.
Or the same blessing, or the same whatever it is.
To be honest with you, you're being real modest right now and real humble, but you've done stuff with Travis Green.
Yeah. Well, little fittings.
Yeah, you done some things with him. You done some things with Pastor Mike.
Pastor Mike, yeah.
Yeah, for
Pastor
those
Mike,
who's the most famous person that you've gotten to work with so far?
I mean, it would be Molly. You know what I mean? Molly, Stokely Williams too.
Stokely?
Yeah, Stokely Williams too. I mean, what's most famous? I did Miss India. She was Miss India Worldwide. She was Miss India Worldwide, Miss India USA, and Miss India New England. I mean, it's all, and India's a big place. It's all relative on who's the viewers and who I consider as famous. Okay. For her in her own right, she's super famous all over the world. She's known all over the globe.
Right.
And I actually made her first custom suit, and that was a blessing. And that was in 2020. I kind of in the blurry thing. I didn't know how to celebrate that. Now I do.
Right.
But I've done the Stellar Awards. I've done the Dove Awards as well. Just the Grammys that passed. Shout out to my boy Felipe.
Mm-hmm.
It's part of I was in the room when Molly was being styled for the Grammys.
Right.
I got to look at what he was wearing before he wore it. All these moments now I can appreciate.
Right.
Because before I just listened to his music on Pandora. No.
You're next to him.
Yeah. No.
He knows you by name.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy, yo? We say most things don't happen overnight, but I gotta say, it kind of seemed like it happened like over the week for you. It happened like within, for starting a business in 2020 and then being this far into it now and being around all these celebrities, like you've come a long way very quickly.
Yeah.
What's next for you? Like, where do you plan? We just started 2022. What are the plans for 2022?
Dressing Jay-Z in some more mauve.
I mean, my plan is to learn how to just maintain relationships.
Okay.
I'm a person that I move solo a lot, right? So I can meet great people and I can foster great. I can network great, but in the long term, me maintaining it, I could kind of be like,
yeah, whatever.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind of thing, because that kind of way.
I've succumbed to that. I know exactly what you mean, bro. Like,
yeah.
I can be a very social person, and I can like meet someone and like for that moment have such a great relationship
connection,
with them, right? Connection, but like once we go our separate ways, I've always had trouble like maintaining that.
Yes,
connection.
yeah.
Or even yearning to like want to be around the next person, you know? Like,
I'm just not the type of person. Like I'm just not gonna typically hit someone up. You know what I mean? Like when I see you, it's like
it's all love.
It's like we never parted.
So my thing is about nurturing those relationships that I've built already. Because like with anything else, it needs some kind of attention to continue to grow and to stay healthy.
Why do you think that's important?
I think it's important because everybody has needs, and I don't just want to be of service when it benefits me, but I also want to be in service when it benefits the other person. So there's things that I also bring to the picture outside the suits that could benefit a person in so many different ways. And it's just the right thing to do, to be kind and to be there for people,
a good friend,
and to check in on people. And I haven't always done that, but it's something intentionally that I do now because I realize I haven't done it before.
Well,
So for 2022, my thing is just to keep scaling. Like I said, I started late last year, into the ladies line heavy, which is wedding dresses.
Right.
And my mom helps me a lot with fabrics and stuff, because that's where she
came from. Right?
That's her cloth. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? So she helps me with that kind of stuff. But into the wedding dress. So for the ladies, the wedding dresses, the evening gowns, and just scaling the business, just expanding my reach a little bit more.
So 2022 seems like it's for the ladies.
It is for the men already established, but I definitely want to get some women fitted.
Do you feel like, and I know we're running out of time, but do you feel like you get more support from men, or you feel like your main supporters are
my main supporters are women, but I don't care.
Okay.
I love the ladies.
Even being a male like fashion
yes.
brand, like you feel like
yes, because men wear clothes so women can approve.
Ooh.
If the women approve it, the men are going to follow.
Right.
Just what it is. If you're wearing something and all the ladies are like, you're like, you going to go home and take it off? Like, what's the point?
Yeah.
But if the ladies are like, co-sign it. So women have always co-signed Generation 3 kid before the men did. You know what I mean? Women have always been like, I like what you're doing, and the men follow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I know I'm in the right space because that's why the peacock has its feathers to attract the opposite sex. You know, so.
Well, yo, thank you for coming on the show tonight, bro.
Absolutely, man.
Yo, I wish you much more success, which I know is coming. I mean, you've done so much in so little.
Mm-hmm.
I doubt this is going to be your last time up here, man.
Absolutely, man. We gonna
next
get
time,
it.
I'm telling you, bro. Next time he's up here, he's gonna be like, yo, I just put some new Moaze on Jay-Z. I feel it.
Yeah.
But where can they get in contact with you if they want to get a suit made?
I mean, here's my number: 203-706-8724.
That's your personal number.
Yeah, that's my personal number. Hit me up because my phone is meant to pay me. My Instagram is Generation, the number 3, the letter K, Generation 3K, on all platforms. Is on the screen behind. You know, you can reach out to me. I'm available. Mm-hmm.
Telling you, this man's suits is fire. Also, I want to give a big shout before we leave to the Black Men's Wear Flash Mob. Very dope movement.
Yeah, we also want to give a big shout out to Carlos as well. Like, this guy has been behind the scenes, helped us out with a lot of our audio, connected us with some great people. We definitely mentioned him in a few previous episodes. So
and you guys is
we want to pay some homage to y'all.
You guys have really, you talk about my journey. Your journey has been crazy in a year. You know,
it's been crazy.
In a year.
It seems
so
like it's
I'm proud of you guys, man, because you guys pushing, you know.
I appreciate that, bro. Yeah. But we definitely want to thank you for, all of the work that you put in behind this thing. Sure. We're getting this thing off the ground.
For sure.
You're a construction worker, you do the suits, but then
we also do
audio as well, you know.
Man of many hats. But once again, thank you for tuning in. And like I said in the beginning of this episode, please like, subscribe, hit that subscribe button. We really trying to get to 700. It'll mean a lot to us.
Let's go.
Drop
700.
a comment and buy a suit.
Yeah.
All right.
700 subscriber might get a discount. Let's go.
Ooh, I like that. That might be me.